Sounds like cheesy film. I will check it out. It's zombie.
Cheesy,
It's
but it's
zombie
still good.
cheerleaders, Raven.
Yeah.
What do you want? It's fucking zombie cheerleaders.
Mm-hmm.
But they are hot, and they spend a lot of time in their bras and panties.
Yeah.
There is
And
some hot rocks.
Yeah.
Those are mystic gems. They're not hot. Hot rocks is what you find in a sauna.
Oh.
Weirdo. This guy. Streaming right now on Shudder. If anybody's interested, Shudder just brought back their queer horror list.
Oh, they put it back.
Yes.
Very cool.
That's what we're doing this month, out of respect for Pride Month, which we missed last month, and we understand that. But I don't know. Somehow we decided to do those goddamn Hulu movies instead. But we're doing it this month.
That's right.
It's gay horror, LGBTQ horror here in the padded room, month of July.
5 weeks of it.
We did Rift last week. We're doing All Cheerleaders Die this week, which I did not remember as being so much a gay horror or an LGBTQ horror movie. But now I understand why, because there is some serious girl-on-girl action going on in this film, and I'm a big fan of that.
Yes,
especially with the young ladies in question.
Mm-hmm.
I believe "rocked her socks off" was a phrase that was used in regards to a female-on-female orgasm. Mm-hmm. What I'm telling you, my friends, is that you can beat off to this. I'm gonna lay that out. You say no?
You gotta make it quick.
No, I don't. I could just watch Tracy walk across the street. That's good enough for me. Yeah, but it's like a 30-second thing.
Exactly. That's pretty cool.
Well, if you roll it,
Oh, if you put
rewind it a couple of times.
Oh, okay.
Fucking guy, he doesn't understand anything. Forget it. I need that thing. Are there any other LGBTQ horror movies out there that we need to investigate, if anybody knows of any? We have a list. Shudder has their LGBTQ list that I already mentioned. Nothing really comes to mind. Hellraiser popped up.
Really?
Yeah, as a gay horror movie. Huh. And I think that is strictly because of Clive Barker being out of the closet, which is fine. Yeah, it's not a big deal. See, I was thinking about that. Yeah. And I should have brought this up when we read Chris's email. Last week we did a movie called Rift, right? Mm-hmm. And it featured a same-sex relationship between two dudes, which is fine. But I don't know that I would actually call that a gay horror movie. And the reason why I say that is because I don't even really find it to be a gay movie per se, because I feel like you could switch like the role of Einar to a female, and it wouldn't affect the story in the least bit.
Well, no, it wouldn't affect the story, but that just takes away from the gay factor.
Right. But I mean, to call it a gay horror film or an LGBTQ horror film per se. I mean, they did that a little bit, but I don't feel that the gayness was like a factor in the film itself, in the story. No, I feel like it would be more. Steve's in the house. Hey, Rob's in the house. What's up, Rob?
Hey, James. What's going on? If a man identifies as a lesbian, does that make him gay?
Yes. Get in the closet, Jim. I think you're better off going back in the closet, I think, for your lesbianism. I have no idea.
Because I was thinking the S&M theme with the
black leather.
Black leather.
I guess that would technically count as LGBTQ, right? Mm-hmm. No. I don't know, man. I'm behind the times with all this stuff. Just recently, Chris had to tell me what LGBTQ stood for: lesbian, gay, bi, trans, queer.
Right.
Queer is like its own subgroup now. For those of you that don't know,
Hi,
I'm slowly getting an education in all this stuff. Long overdue. Mm-hmm. Regardless.
Yeah.
Let's get into a movie here, shall we? Let's do a podcast about a horror movie.
Let's get into this.
All Cheerleaders Die. That's the name of the show here. Let me just open up my magic book of movies and other nonsensical stuff that I like to write down for no reason.
It says I meant fetish.
Okay. Well,
that's an empty.
Fetish Horror Month. That might be something to investigate. Movies that exclusively feature dildos and weird sexual contraptions.
No, fetish.
Dude, we
like,
could
so
easily,
much weird
we
stuff.
could
'Cause you have a
easily.
foot fetish.
That's true. There's people these days with like shampoo bottle fetishes. You stick that up your ass. Dude, we're not, I'm not doing a whole year of of goddamn fetish movies. Not that I have anything against fetish horror films, if there even is such a thing. Hey, Creeper Mama. Welcome to the show, babe. All right, let's get down to business here, shall we? God damn it.
Let's do it.
That's right, inmates. We're talking about All Cheerleaders Die from 2014. This one is written and directed by the Lucky McKee. Do you recognize that name at all? I'm talking about The Woman. Have you seen that one? Sick Girl. He starred in a movie called Roman. Yeah, you've seen that one?
Yeah.
It's interesting. He's a good director. He does good work, I think. Hasn't done anything notable in quite some time, although I do believe he's working with Pollyanna McIntosh on this Woman spinoff, Darlin'.
Right.
It's coming out. That's going to be something to see. You got to kind of, it's from this universe of The Offspring and The Woman and now Darlin'. I don't know that you need to see all three of them. Offspring wasn't that great of a show.
I didn't see that.
I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
Inmates, have you seen Offspring? It's it's an adaptation of a book from Keith Latch, I believe. Was it a Keith Latch book? I don't know. It basically boils down to feral kids and living in like the wilds of Florida and southern United States. And then later on, when you get into The Woman, it has like a feral lady walking around. She gets abducted. Strange things happen. It's very weird. Regardless, we're talking about All Cheerleaders Die. Now, this is part of our LGBTQ month here in the Padded Room. I completely forgot that there was a lesbian aspect to this film. I've seen this movie before. I enjoyed it. I hadn't watched it recently, though, until yesterday. I was like, oh, that's right. The witch and the AV nerd are, if you understand what I'm saying. Or at least they're trying to.
Yeah.
In a weird way. So our movie starts with a little bit of found footage action. We have an AV nerd. I want to say it's like 3 days before the start of the senior year in high school. Now our LGBTQ aspect comes in with our AV nerd and another young lady named Lena, who is kind of like the Dungeons and Dragons geek. I kind of feel like. So what happens is our AV nerd isn't interested in Lena at this point. She's following around another chick named Lexi.
Right.
And she is trying to make a documentarian type of a thing. Documentary is what I'm looking for. Look, we do like 4 or 5 shots before we start this show. So if we're slurring or if I make up a word on the fly, you're just going to have to roll with me.
Just roll with
Just whatever I say goes, okay? Regardless, she's following around the captain of the cheerleading squad and her best friend, a young lady named Lexi. I hated Lexi from the start.
Oh, me too.
I wanted to fucking gut punch this bitch right in the gut. Exactly what you would expect from the captain of the cheerleading squad during the senior year. Super highfalutin, lots of, oh, it's senior year, oh, it's going to be epic, we're bitches, we're a bunch of bitches. The name of the high school is the Blackfoot High, and their school mascot is, what were they, Black Dogs, and they're Black Dogs. So the football team is known as the Dogs, and thus the cheerleaders are known as bitches, dogs and bitches. Because that's gangsta, yo. Yeah. I hate her. I hate her already. Anyway, I forgot Lucky McKee did May with Angela Bettis. You're exactly right, Steve. Yeah. I feel like May is probably the epitome of Lucky McKee. I think that was his best movie. But I think a lot of that kind of lands on Angela Bettis because she really sold that role. Yeah, she was a champion. She still is a champion. Anyway, so she's following her around, and oh, this is gonna be epic, senior year, and we find out that Lexi is dating the captain of the football team, a guy named Terry, who's a royal douche. And we just kind of stay here in found footage territory for about the first 5-10 minutes of the movie. Follow her up to her cheerleading practice, and she, oh, dogs and bitches, and you get yourself a typical high school cheerleading montage, and then you see Lexi die in a very comedic fashion, in which they do the number where they hold her by her feet and throw her up, whatever you call. I don't know what you call that thing, but you throw them up
in the air.
Except they miss the catch, and she does like a dirt dive,
Head first,
boom, right into the ground,
snaps
breaks her neck. She is out of the equation.
Out for the count.
The first time I saw this, I was like, oh, thank God. If I had to put up with an hour and a half of this bitch, I would have changed the channel already. Fuck her. So she's out of the equation. That's great. Now we're gonna go. I kind of feel like that was actually the last day of junior year. I could be wrong about that.
No, I think you're right.
Cut to past summer vacation to 2 days before the start of senior year. Now, I had a completely different high school experience than everybody else, but apparently if you were on the cheerleading squad or the football team, you started practice like weeks before the actual school year started.
Oh yeah.
That part is gory but funny. I wouldn't say it's gory, Sean. I mean, you really just see her. I guess it is kind of gory.
You see
her head.
You hear it too.
Yeah, and you. I guess.
No, not bloody.
Not bloody per se, but yeah, it's kind of graphic, Sean. I guess I can see what you're saying. Anyway, oh, thank God. If I had an hour and a half of Lexi talking about dogs and bitches and gangsta, yo. No, I'm not doing it. We're going to find another movie, gang. Sorry. Anyway, that part's over. She's done. It would, because that's it. That's all I saw. Take it to you, buddy. We're done. We're done for the week.
Turn it up. Let's go.
Can't handle this bitch. So now we're going to cut to 2 days before the start of senior year. So right off the bat, we're going to learn that Madeline, who was the AV nerd that was following Lexi around, probably with some kind of intentions of probably banging her at some point, some lesbian intentions there. It's kind of hell-bent now on taking Lexi's spot in the cheerleading squad. So she does just that. I'm offended by your shirt. This one. Am I right, Creeper Mama? I'm offended by this fucking shirt, too.
It's better than the Seahawks.
Get the fuck out of here. Vikings. Minnesota Vikings.
Better than the Vikings, too.
Get the fuck out of here. Anyway, I've filed grievances, Creeper Mama, with the people at Chop Block TV about this shirt. He doesn't listen to me. He doesn't listen to anybody.
It's all about the rings.
Go fuck yourself, Steelers guy. Steelers guy over here all of a sudden. Anyway,
back to horror.
Back to the horror movie. Hey, Scott, welcome to the show, amigo.
Hey, Scott.
So now we're going to pick up here. She's now trying out for cheerleading, trying to basically take Lexi's spot on the cheerleading squad, which is great. We're going to meet the new captain of the cheerleading squad, a very hot blonde by the name of Tracy. Tracy's about as hot as it gets.
Yeah.
I like Tracy way more than I ever liked Lexi. I like Hannah too.
Oh, yeah.
I think Hannah was, if I had to squeeze one out, one young lady in particular in this
Hannah
film
would be the easy one.
Hannah's probably my number one, my go-to. Tracy number two, and then I forget the rest of them. To be honest with you, I think those are the only two that you need, really.
It's like that questionnaire: who would you fuck? Who would you marry?
Hannah, and Hannah. For what I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
If you need another name, throw Tracy in there. But Hannah's what I'm doing. All right. Anyway, so she tries out. She actually wins the spot on the cheerleading squad. Gets on board, and now she's one of the cheerleaders. Now, right after that happens, we're going to cut to Maddie making a video diary entry. And what she's stating in her video diary is that she is infiltrating the cheerleader squad because she wants to get revenge for the death of Lexi. Tracy, who swooped right in and took Lexi's boyfriend after she died, which was not classy. And the way that everybody just kind of moved past Lexi. So her main targets are Terry, who is Lexi's boyfriend, and Tracy, who is Lexi's usurper, I guess, for lack of a better word. Terry's a fuckface, but we'll get to him in a second. So that's great. Now we know what Maddie's true intentions are. And that's good because I had high hopes for Maddie, and I was glad to see that she was not just kind of falling into the cheerleader fold because she saw an opportunity. All right, so
agenda.
Yeah, so She made the squad. That's great. There's a celebration party going on that night at Martha's house. Now, Martha is another cheerleader on the squad. Martha's a bit of a weird one. Always on her phone. She is dating a dude by the name of Manny, who's on the football team. Manny and Martha are together, but they haven't really done anything like sexual. I don't think they've even made out really at this point, but they're together in the high school sense of we will sit next to each other and possibly hold hands from time to time. Right. And if anybody asks, you're my boyfriend. King and queen. Whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. But anyway, this big shindig is happening at Martha's place. So since Maddie's now on the squad, she's invited. She's leaving her house to go to this big shindig, and out from the bushes pops another young lady named Lena. Now, Lena is the Dungeons and Dragons dork that we were talking about a minute ago. Lena was Madison's best friend, but they kind of had a parting of the ways because Madison became, I keep calling her Madison, Madeline. Madeline became very popular and is now a cheerleader. Yeah. Lena is still a Dungeons and Dragons dork. And I don't mean that in the sense that she actually plays Dungeons and Dragons, but she dresses like she does. And she's got like the goth makeup. She's into the Wiccan thing, and she's not very attractive, to be honest with you. And we see this in almost every teen drama. You got two best friends in middle school, and then they go to high school, and one of them becomes a superstar, and the other one is like, "Ooh, I play a lot of Mortal Kombat." That was me, by the way.
I was about to say, that was totally me.
No, yeah, that was totally me. Except I didn't have the friend that became the superstar. It was always just me. A little high school drama there. Anyway, so she pops out of the bushes and she's got a cat that she named Madeline, which is kind of creepy. And she's like, Maddie, oh my God, Maddie's gotten sick. She's talking about the cat. He's got sick. What are we going to do? And Maddie is like, oh my God, you crazy lady. I have to go to this party. Tracy's on her way to pick me up. I got to get the fuck out of here. So Tracy rolls around the corner, picks Maddie up. Maddie has to leave Lena behind because she's like, crazy bitch. And off they go to the party. Party's pretty cool. Now, apparently there's some kind of a tradition in this high school where the cheerleading squad has their party the night before the first day of school. And the football team has their party on the same night, but their tradition is that they break into the school swimming pool and have their party there. So that's
pretty accurate.
It's pretty cool, is it?
Yeah.
What, you was a football player in high school?
No, I had many friends.
Did you? I didn't have any. I had zero friends.
Things they both broke into different areas.
Really?
Yeah, it was weird.
Your high school experience was much different than mine. It was not that I had much of a high school experience to begin with. Mine mostly comprised of me sitting at home alone playing Sega Genesis. Look at me now, buddy. Yeah, I'm on Chop Block TV. That's right. Where are you people? Woo! Anyway, so that's the plan, except that the football players decide to crash the ladies' party that night. And by that, I mean, they just kind of roll up on them. And then Terry gives Tracy a broken bracelet. He's like, oh, I found this for you. Isn't it sweet? She's like, oh, my God, Terry. Oh, it's so sweet. As soon as they leave, it's fucking stupid. As soon as they leave, Maddie's like, this is where I start sabotaging some shit. So she gets Tracy off by herself, and she's like, hey, you and Terry have been together since the last day of school last year. Well, I saw him on the 4th of July with this other chick, just saying. And then, of course, Tracy gets all butthurt. Oh, my God, how can he do it to me? And then she gets hammered, and then we get a little girl-on-girl action in the car later that night between Maddie and Tracy. They make out for a few minutes. Okay, a little bit of the... understand what I'm telling you. Hands on the desk, buddy.
That's right.
So that's fun. From there, the Late Horror Show's on. Hey guys.
Hey.
I love the Late Horror Show.
Absolutely.
If you're not on YouTube, Chop Blockers, go check out the Late Horror Show. You're gonna love those guys. They do a good show over there.
They're awesome.
Regardless, that happens. They're both drunk, so it's kind of weird.
Yeah.
But whatever. So now we cut to the next day. They have their big opening pre first day of school pep rally.
Mm-hmm.
So the cheerleaders go and do their big, hoorah, sis boom bah thing. We don't actually get to see any of that, and we don't really need to see any of that shit either. The football players come out and
They
do their thing. So now we have another party that night, but this is a group party where the football players and the cheerleaders are getting together in some weird. Okay, I could be completely off base here, but if I'm not mistaken, the landscape of this movie is that somewhere in this little town, there's a cemetery that sits on a cliff,
right,
and then down the cliff is like some woods, and in the cliff is some caves.
Right.
We're having our pre-first day of school party down on at the bottom of the cliff.
Right.
Okay. He said, "Hands on the desk." Yeah, that means no beating off. That means no beating off, Creeper Mama. A lot of girl on girl action with some very attractive ladies in this film. Anyway, so that's what's happening. Everybody's having a great time. The cheerleaders are there. They're getting hammered. The football players are also there. They're also getting hammered. Bonfire. We get a little subplot going on here. We find out that Hannah, who is Martha's little sister, actually really wants to get on Manny, who is Martha's boyfriend. This has very little to do with anything in the scope of the movie, but it's worth noting. Moving forward, the party's going down. Now, remember, at this point, Tracy is royally pissed at Terry because Maddie has her thinking that Terry cheated on her during the 4th of July. Right. Which is probably true because Terry's a fuckhead, as we're going to find out more as the show goes on. So Terry's not there yet. Tracy and Maddie go off into the woods for a little alone time. Yeah. And they do just that. Now, while that's going on, the unfortunate part is that Lena is also on the scene. She has followed them to the party, but has not joined the party. She's hanging in one of the caves up on the cliff, and she watches Maddie and Tracy go off. So now she's all jealous. What we don't know about Lena is that she is a practicing witch / Wiccan. So she breaks out her cool gemstones and does a woo, throws them and focuses her witch powers on them or whatever.
And at first you don't really know what kind of is this for real?
I thought it was Dungeons and Dragons. Yeah. So whatever. As she's doing this though, Hannah, the little sister, looks up in the caves and sees her. So she's like, well, I'm not getting any action down here. I'm going to go see what she's up to. Hey, sorry I'm late. Oh, you're fine, Rebecca. We're talking about all cheerleaders must die. All cheerleaders die.
All cheerleaders must die.
Oh, no, just all cheerleaders die.
Oh, okay.
So Hannah goes up to the caves and she's like, hey, crazy lady, what are you up to? And she's like, I'm a practicing witch and I'm throwing these stones. Ooh.
What's this?
Hey. So she throws the stones and Hannah's like,
oh. She tells what each stone is. This is so-and-so. This is so-and-so. Not who, but what it
represents. She's assigned stones' personalities.
Weird.
It's a cast of characters on the stones.
Yeah.
Eventually, she's like, that's weird. Lena gets all jealous. She decides she's going to follow Maddie and Tracy off into the woods where she sees them fingering each other, which is very hot. That's pretty, I find that enticing, arousing, if you will.
Inviting.
One might say. Alrighty. But unfortunately, Lena finds this repulsive, and she's like, "That's my girl." So, because she's all fired up now, one of the stones up in the cave starts glowing. Unfortunately, right about this time, Terry, the captain, rolls up. Now, Terry's a fuckface. I'll give you that.
Oh yeah.
But really, the actor who played Terry, it's not a very imposing figure. He looks like he's a very short, very small individual.
Yeah.
But the one thing he has going for him is he's got a menacing stare. They sold the shit out of his menacing stare, which, to be honest with you, wasn't even that menacing to me. Mm-hmm. He does a lot. He does a lot of this. Yeah. Yeah, like clenching his jaw and stuff.
Yeah, I'm mad, but I'm serious.
I'm very serious and I'm very mad, and I don't need to yell at you because I just stare at you.
My eyes are yelling at you.
Whatever. He rolls up just as Maddie and Tracy are coming out of the woods. Terry is like, oh, dogs. Oh, come on, guys. I'm instituting a no fraternization with the cheerleaders policy.
Just like the NFL.
Which is stupid. All these kids are dating cheerleaders.
All of them.
Now, here's the really dumb part. Nobody raises their hand. They're all like, okay, sorry.
Whatever you say.
Go fuck yourself.
I know. I'd be like, excuse me?
We're not doing that.
Yeah.
We are not doing
I
that.
happen to like the cheerleader. I'm fucking.
I am about one wine cooler away from getting a blowjob. So
don't ruin this for me.
maybe we can talk about this tomorrow, but for now, policy is not, no, we're not doing it. Forget about it.
Duct tape over here.
Yeah, just shut up. Right back into your car, you fucko.
I wouldn't have a problem saying that.
I wouldn't either. I don't care how scary.
Speak for
What are you
yourself.
going to do? Stare at me? Go ahead. Stare at me while I'm getting a blowjob. Go fuck off.
You like this? You like this?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead. I don't care. I don't even care. Especially for a bunch of horny teenagers. No.
No kidding.
Go fuck yourself.
It's not a policy.
Forget it. Who cares? Regardless, all these knuckleheads are like, oh, okay, sorry, boss.
Whatever you say.
Hey, Inky Binky Boo's in the house.
Hey, honey.
Hey, Breezy.
Love you.
Anyway, unfortunately, all these clowns jump right in line, but this really pisses Tracy off.
Yeah.
So she gets all up in Terry's face, and she's like, you know what, you fucking piece of shit, you never made me come. There's 3 people that made me come. One of them was like a kid,
great.
Thing. He fingered me, and then there was another guy. And then Madison here about 5 minutes ago, she diddled me in the woods and made me blast off.
That was awesome.
So now Terry's getting all pissed off. He's giving her the evil eye, which is not working because she's drunk. Yeah, she doesn't give a fuck about the menacing look. But then he hauls off and punches her in the face.
Not cool.
Like a full-on boom.
Closed fist and
That's fucked up. Now, the really fucked up part is that all of his football cronies are there and none of them do anything about it.
Yeah, and all the girls
are like, what? Come on, what are you doing?
Let him get away with this?
Martha is like, well, guess what, punk ass? I'm going to call the cops.
Mm-hmm.
They grab her phone. So the girls pile into their car. The football players pile into their car. And we get a high-speed chase out of there somewhere, wherever they're going. They're hauling ass down some country roads and bobbing and weaving. The girls, unfortunately, lose control of their car, go flying off an embankment and into a river. Kills all 4 of them on the spot. That's Maddie, Tracy, Hannah, and Martha, dead. While that was going on, however, Lena was kind of following them with her magic bag of rocks, and she's like, "Ooh!"
No, she wasn't following. She left earlier.
Oh, that's right. She broke down,
crying.
Yeah.
While they all sped past her.
And then, now the guys saw the whole accident. They saw them go off the embankment, and they're like drowning in the river. And Terry's like, "Ain't my fault that these bitches don't know how to drive and shit."
Yeah.
And you may think I'm being racist, but he actually is an African American. That's Terry character. So there's that. Moving right along, I think stating that just made that more racist.
Yeah, I think so. I was like,
that's how he
why
said
would
it.
you even say that?
I can't even edit this. This is live.
Yeah.
Whatever. That's what those are his exact words, and that was the dialect that he used to read that line. So there you have it. Anyway, so regardless, these football players are complete pieces of shit because they just watched these 4 girls die and they did nothing to help them, mostly at Terry's behest.
Yeah.
Lena, on the other hand, after the football players leave, goes running down there and pulls them all out of the car, gets them up on the embankment. They're already dead. It's the problem.
Yeah.
So she grabs the dead body of Maddie and she's doing that. No, you come back to me, you bitch! I love you. She did, but I mean, she was really focused on Maddie with all the screaming and the yelling.
Yeah.
Once that happens, her magic bag of rocks starts to glow, and then the rocks like float off,
levitate,
and they embed themselves, one in each girl that's dead.
Yeah, follow the blood trail of each girl.
That was a pretty stupid scene, actually, because the blood was CGI.
No,
and it was bad.
The way
CGI.
it like wormed into
it looked like some kind of a weird xenomorph thing.
What do you expect, right?
I mean, 2014, you can just use blood, like practical effects.
Yeah, you could really like kill somebody, at least do something with it.
Get out of here. Go back outside. I'll call you when you can come back in. All right, anyway, so now all the chicks have magic glowing rocks in them. Cut to the next morning.
Okay. Spots of them.
Yeah, like Tracy's got one in her head. Martha had one like in the back, low of the back. Lena never died. She was alive the whole time. She got one buried like right in her clavicle.
Yeah.
Weird place for one.
Mhm.
Regardless, next morning rolls around. All these chicks wake up. They're at Lena's house, and they're like, "Oh, what happened?" They look like zombies at this point.
Oh yeah.
What's a movie without a bag of magic glowing rocks? I agree completely.
Yeah.
I think more
right?
movies should have bags of glowing rocks.
Yeah, we should make
About bags of glowing rocks.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll call it Darian's bag of glowing rocks. Why does everything have to be a porno with you?
Hey,
This guy. Anyway.
this guy.
Anyway, so they wake up the next morning and now they're pretty much zombies. I mean, they're cognizant. They're speaking to each other. So, oh, what happened? Somehow, when whatever happened, Martha's soul got put into Hannah's body, and Hannah got put into Martha's body.
Yeah.
I don't. That's just like a weird
I think
repercussion.
they were the ones that, because they're the ones that died, they just didn't like revert back.
I don't know. I don't know how. I think it may have had something to do with Martha making a wish on the rocks before all hell broke loose, because she really wanted to get on Manny. Don't forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that happens. We get a very awkward conversation there in Lena's bedroom about what happened. She breaks it down for him. Hey, you bitches are dead. I brought you back to life with my weird Wiccan bullshit, and that's what's happening.
Right.
Tracy's like, this is crazy. She goes downstairs and starts raiding the refrigerator because now everybody is like screaming hungry all of a sudden.
Right.
And here is my favorite part of the movie. Tracy decides that that nothing in the refrigerator looks or smells good, so she goes just walking right across the street in her bra and panties.
Yeah.
Woo!
That was pretty hot.
She is whoever that actress is very attractive.
Oh yeah.
And a very shapely body. Goes walking right across the street, lets herself into the neighbor's house, who's kind of like this dirty old man type of a guy. His name's Larry.
Cool there for a second though.
Yeah, it did all right. But, raids Larry's fridge. Larry's like, hey, you're in a bra and panties, and I'm a dirty old man, so why don't you let yourself right in? And then eventually she's like, Larry, stuff just isn't doing it for me. So she kills him and like eats him and drinks his blood, pretty much.
Everybody does.
Well, yeah, the rest of the girls come over, and then they all kind of feast on Larry.
Yeah, they could all sense it. Like, as soon as she was about to kill him, they all like, ooh, they knew what was going on and just flooded right at him.
It's a feeding frenzy.
Yeah.
It's like the power of the rocks.
Yeah, they all feel whatever it is
Yeah.
that one of them is doing.
You need to talk into your microphone. It's like, yeah, they're all like conjoined now by the rocks, the glowing rocks.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. They killed Larry, ate him, devoured him. When they get done with him, he's like all dried up and shriveled up on his floor. You know what's on his mind? Hands up. Talking to you. Keep your hands on the table, you pervo. Thank you, Creeper Mama, for keeping me abreast of what this dude's up to. Anyway, so that's gnarly. They're like, whoa, we're like vampire zombies. And now they're all like, oh, I feel so good. I got all this nourishment. And I'm ready to rock. So now we're going to cut to the first day of school. The football players are there, and they're like hitting on these freshman chicks and stuff like that. Now, I should mention that our football player squad, the assholes of them anyway, comprise of about 5 guys. Right. You got Terry, who's the royal cocksucker of the group. You have Ben, who is one half of the stoner duo. George, the other half of the stoner duo. You have Vic, who's like the nice guy of the group and feels horrible about all this shit. And then you have Manny, who was Martha's boyfriend. Mm-hmm. So we're going to start. They're having like a little powwow about what happened. Oh, I didn't see shit. You didn't see anything. I don't know what happened to those girls. But Vic is really bent about this. Oh, yeah, and he's like, oh, God, those girls are dead. Nobody knows what happened. I feel like a royal piece of shit.
You need to say something.
I need to say something. So while the rest of the crew is chatting up these freshmen, Vic is like, you know what? I'm going to go talk to a teacher and just tell her what happened, because this is not cool. So he starts walking towards one of the teachers to tell her what's going on. And as he does so, here comes our 4 cheerleaders with their new witch handler right around the corner.
Yeah.
I don't know what fucking kind of high school this is, but these cheerleader outfits are insane and inappropriate. They are basically made of duct tape that cover your nipples and your pussy, and that's it.
Work for the show.
Work for me. I like it. I wish I would have went to that high school.
Everybody stopped and stared at that one.
Of course. Jesus Christ, man. That ought to be against the law. It should be like a statutory rape thing or something. I don't know. But it's very hot. They all come walking across, and it's like we get that
slow motion.
We get that slow motion montage. Here comes the bad bitches.
Yeah,
and
all the students and everybody just staring at them.
Make way for them as they're walking down in like a V formation down the hallway.
Oh, yeah.
The jocks are on the other end of the hallway going, what the fuck is this? What happened here? I don't know. So our cheerleaders walk right down the hallway. Everything's cool. They're giving everybody the evil eye, and they look good. They look very good.
Oh yeah.
Vic's like, you know what, teacher? Never mind, because I don't know what I was going to tell you anyway, so I'll just go right back to class.
I was going to say they died, but here they are.
There they are. So I'm full of shit, and that's the truth. So that's all well and good. Of course, Terry is giving them all his predatory stink eye as they walk by, and they're all like flipping him the bird because fuck him anyway. Mm-hmm. So now we get to what I guess is like this whole story wraps up on the first day of school. So now we get to like first or second period, I guess. The girls are spread out in their respective classes. Mm-hmm. Hannah, who is now in Martha's body, decides she's going to get on Manny's bones. So she takes him into a handicap restroom, and they have sex in a ridiculous fashion.
Yeah, it was.
She's still dead, and her pussy is like ice cold.
Ice cold.
So he's like, "Whoa, why is it so cold? Oh, never mind. Who cares?"
That was hilarious. Yeah. He tells his buddy.
Yeah, I got all up in her freezer.
You didn't tell me.
It's supposed to be cold in there, right?
It's supposed to be cold in there. I had no idea.
That's a little creepy. Right? That's kind of gross. Anyway, that happens, but because they're all like linked with these rocks now, they all have orgasms.
Right.
To include Lena.
Would that be so bad?
I don't know, man. I don't.
He just walked around. Oh, damn! Woo!
Give me 2 more minutes.
It is still going.
You know what? I'm just gonna sit in this chair for a while. Anybody got any napkins?
Is it hot in here? Woo!
Could you say it again, please? Anyway, that's kind of weird. But the problem is that Maddie is in the process of telling Terry to go fuck himself when this happens. So she's like, you know what? You're a piece of shit. And then she just drops to her knees and she's like, while that's going on, we're going to cut to Tracy, who has taken one of the stoner kids out to his stoner van and, is getting high with him. In the process of doing so, the glowing rock comes out of her head and then bullets itself into the stoner kid.
Right for him.
Yeah, like a bullet. And like all the blood comes out of him and goes into her mouth. So everybody's rejuvenated again all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So Maddie gets up, she corners Lena, and she's like, dude, what the fuck was that all about? And Lena's like, well, somebody got fucked, somebody got killed, and I'm going to PE. The stone for the stoner. That's exactly right.
The stone for the stoner.
That's exactly right, Rebecca. So now we're learning that this is how this is going.
Yeah.
Cut to next period. Lena's in her class trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. Mm-hmm. She lays all of her rocks out on her desk, and she's like doing her witch thing, and the rocks start levitating.
And why would you do that in a classroom?
I don't know. Apparently, that's not a very interesting class because you've got time to do that.
Right.
Some Dorcas sitting next to her sees all this, and he's like, "Whoa, look at that shit." Goes out into the hallway after class and tells his friend about it, but Terry is like 3 lockers down and overhears the whole thing. Now, at this point, we're going to cut to Hannah. Well, Hannah/Martha.
Right.
Hannah's body, Martha's soul, I guess. Mm-hmm. She's all pissed off because she realizes that Hannah in Martha's body had sex with Manny. So in a way, I guess that's cheating, but I don't
know about that.
It's
a gray area.
There's a very gray area there. Hannah takes Manny out to the woods. No, he thought he was having sex with his girlfriend.
Yeah.
Thought he was having sex with her. So Martha in Hannah's body takes Manny out to the woods, and she's like, "How could you motherfucker?" And he's like, "Whoa, hey,
high-speed chase.
I'm dating your sister. This is what people do." And she's like, "That's not my sister. I'm Martha in Hannah's body." Kills Manny, throws him up against a tree, kills him.
Doing what he wanted to do.
Well, fucking asshole, man. You can't be, you know,
drown.
Yeah, or letting chicks drown in a river because your piece of shit football captain told you to do it. All these guys needed to die, really.
Yeah.
So he's like, he gets killed. And they're like, she's like, oh, somebody fed again. They all get rejuvenated. Okay, excellent. Now we cut to that after school that day. I think his name was George. One half of the stoner kids is missing. Terry goes out to his van, sees the dead body of George in the van, and he's like, And then they go out to the woods.
Let's listen, make sure nobody else sees
this. And then they go out to the woods and they find the dead body of Manny, and he's like, Now he overheard the story about the glowing rocks and what Lena's up to, so he's got a good idea what's going on. And just before Lena leaves for the day, she puts her bag of rocks in her locker. Terry goes into her locker and steals them.
Yeah, Terry saw her put it in there.
Terry's got the bag of magic rocks now, kids. We got a lot of fucking problems all of a sudden.
Look at.
So Lena's like, my rocks are gone. What's going on? I'm pretty sure it was Terry. And they're like, okay, let's just calm down and go back to your place and see if we can't figure it out. They go back to Lena's place, or no, Maddie's place. And it's all four of them. Hannah and Martha are like not talking to each other because of the whole Manny thing. Tracy's there. She's okay. She's like, I feel like $1 million. Maddie's there. She's like, I'm dead. I don't know. I was just going to fucking ruin everybody's senior year, but now I'm dead. What am I supposed to do now? Maddie leaves the room for a minute. Tracy gets on her computer and starts wanted to check her Facebook profile, but unfortunately discovers Maddie's video diary, in which she specifically called Tracy a dumb bitch and said she was looking forward to wrecking everybody's senior year. They all watch it and they're all like, oh, how could you?
Yeah.
Maddie comes out and she's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. It was before I got to know you, before any of this happened. The whole thing with Lexi, I'm sorry. And then everybody kind of splits up. So they all leave and they all go their separate ways. Now, I believe at this point that Tracy was of the mind to try to reconcile with Terry.
Yeah.
Which is, regardless of what she thought or didn't think, he still punched her in the fucking face, man.
No kidding.
Don't go back to him. He's a cocksucker.
Mm-hmm.
Regardless, they all go their separate ways. Tracy jumps in her Mini Coupe and goes hauling ass, and she's crying. She's all emotional. The two sisters go outside and get into a screaming match, and then they go their separate ways. About this time, Terry rolls up to Maddie's place in the stoner van, and he's like, oh, you bitches. Grabs Hannah in Martha's body, throws her in the back of the van, and cuts the stone out of her.
Yeah. Creeper Mama says that's when they made a plan to remove the stone from the girl.
That's exactly right, Creeper Mama. So that's what happened. He gets the stone out of Hannah in Martha's body and swallows it, which makes him like super powerful for a second. Martha in Hannah's body, or Hannah in Martha's body. Hannah and Martha's bodies are the first one. Right. Then Martha in Hannah's body comes out. She's like, you motherfucker, rips the door off the van. And Terry's like, come get it, bitch. Knocks her out and cuts the stone out of her, abducts her, takes her somewhere else and cuts the stone out of her and eats it. Apparently removing the stones from these chicks kills them pretty much instantaneously.
Right. It makes him more powerful.
Exactly.
It's all there.
But Maddie and Lena saw this whole thing. So they're like, we gotta track him down and stop him. Mm-hmm. Just as they're having this conversation, Vic rolls up on his motorcycle. And he's like, oh God, I'm so sorry. I came by to apologize. I'm not gonna follow these guys. They're fucking assholes. And she's like, oh, you know what?
Useful.
Yeah, she's like, I really need your help, Vic. And then she like rips his neck open and drinks all of his blood. So now she's like, I'm powerful too, you fucker.
Yeah.
So now we get like a little kind of a not really a cat and mouse thing. They take Vic's bike and Lena and Maddie go chasing Terry in the stoner van. Terry leads them to the cemetery and then down into the brush there. They reconvene with Tracy, who is also after Terry, presumably to reconcile. I remember the movie. You do remember the movie.
You do. Yeah, you
probably better than we do.
Right?
Let us know if we're fucking anything up. You probably already have.
Yeah, set us straight.
Please do. So they follow Terry to the cemetery, through the cemetery, down that cliff thing, into the woods where the initial party took place. Terry has set a series of booby traps for them.
Yeah.
They're hauling ass after him, and they're making pretty good time.
That was pretty cool. The booby traps, the bear traps.
Yeah, the weird trap pit.
Yeah.
Tracy's like right on his ass. She falls into this pit. In the pit, he set up a bunch of animal traps, and she is like the clumsiest bitch ever because like she like her foot lands in one, and she's like, "Ow, fuck!" And then she takes like a step back and steps in another one. She's like, "Ah!" Falls into one, goes to steady herself, puts her hand in one.
Oh man.
She is basically death by animal trap, but over the course of like 35 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just snap, fuck, shit, bang, whoa, god damn it.
Yeah.
That sucks. I believe Maddie fell in there with her to try to help her, but she could. She's like, "Oh, get the stones, fucking asshole." So Maddie goes out. She starts chasing after Terry again. Terry has managed to capture Lena and is holding her in the cemetery. So he's like, oh my God, I'm going to have the best football season ever. He's getting ready to cut the stone out of Lena's clavicle when Maddie comes around the scene. Big fight. Terry knocks Maddie down. He then mounts Lena and is like, I'm going to cut the stone out. But then Terry comes back and like bashes him over the head with a rock. He knocks her back and like through a tombstone, which I thought was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. Yeah.
In the end, she slams him down, and then Lena manages to get her bag of magic rocks back. Yeah, apparently,
because he dropped them.
She's actually got like 35 of these magic rocks. Apparently, she does like a magic incantation on the bag of rocks, and they all float up and turn into like a magic rock cyclone.
Yeah,
going on. And because she's doing this crazy magic incantation, they come out of Terry and join the cyclone.
Great move, by the way.
Yeah, totally. Like robbing him of all of his supernatural power, and then from there, Madison just kills him regularly. But she does it right on top of the grave of Lexi, who was his girlfriend. I guess you can't really call her an ex-girlfriend because she died. Troy's in the house. What's up, Troy? And after that, Terry's dead. He's kind of disemboweled with the rocks coming out of him. And then we get like a big kiss. Maddie dies also because her rock comes out.
Right.
But then Lena comes and like, "Oh, you come back to me, you bitch. I love you so much." Mm-hmm. And then Maddie wakes up and she's fine and she's not a zombie anymore. And then they make out. And then out of nowhere, Lexi comes out of the ground. And she's like, "Ah!" She's like a full zombie, like with rotting face and all that shit. She's like, "Ah, I'm back on the squad, bitch." And then that's pretty much the end of your movie.
Yeah.
What did you think of All Cheerleaders Die?
Loved it.
I like this one.
Yes.
I like this one a lot. It's probably more of a dark comedy than a horror film. Right?
Yeah, I'd say so.
I would liken this to a zombie version of The Craft in a weird way.
Mm-hmm.
You like that? You think so?
Yeah, I would go with that.
I forgot Lucky McKee did a remake of the same film which he wrote and directed. You're right, yeah, Steve, right. But I believe the original was just a short film. So this was like an expansion of that. Mm-hmm. I've never seen the original though. I don't know if anybody have you seen the original?
No, I haven't seen the original. No.
It was like a student film or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. This one's pretty good. You can definitely beat off to it. I got a kill count of 8 people on this, which is pretty solid for a high school zombie.
Yeah.
Gore was solid, although a little iffy on the CGI.
Yeah, a little iffy on the CGI, especially when the rocks are spinning and all that stuff. And it's like, glowing.
Things that were CGI in this movie that could have easily been practical, like the blood flow through the rocks.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we could have figured that one out. Other than that, it's not a bad show. I like
Starman CGI.
Starman?
You remember Starman?
Yeah, they didn't have CGI back then. That was like 1987.
The whole spaceship thing, and
that was animation. It was a totally different thing. Jesus Christ, I enjoyed it. So did we, Creeper Mama.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
not a bad show. It's streaming on Shudder right now.
Definitely worth a watch.
Shudder, I don't know if you guys have it or not, but they actually have a subsection right now for LGBTQ horror. You'll find this one there. You'll also find last week's movie Rift there also.
I found it free on Tubi.
Oh, Tubi TV.
Yeah,
also.
Tubi TV.
Check it out there if you want to.
All I had to do was 2 ads.
Oh, thanks, Rebecca. Glad you enjoyed the show.
Hey, yeah.
I think we'll go ahead and take us a little break and come back with some other stuff. Yes? Not you guys. We're talking about the podcast. We'll hang out for another minute or two with you guys. So this one, I feel like All Cheerleaders Die was much more of a gay lesbian horror movie than Rift was.
Mm-hmm.
Rift, I felt, was more of a supernatural. I don't know if you even call it that. More of a suspense thriller. There is a gay element in Rift, but I wouldn't call it a gay movie per se.
A gay element.
Well, obviously, it's two guys
Yeah.
in it, and they're in a relationship.
Make out.
But I mean, like I was saying earlier, either one of those guys could have been replaced with a female, and we would have had the same movie. The fact that they're gay,
then it wouldn't be gay.
Well, I know, but the fact that they're gay isn't really pertinent to the film.
No,
or
it's
the
not
story
pertinent
at
to the
all,
film, no.
really. Whereas this one, I feel like the lesbian relationship between Lena and Maddie in the high school setting is more pertinent to the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not that there really was one, but it's more of a budding romance as the story goes on.
Even says like at the end of the film, that's my girlfriend.
NFL and NBA cheerleaders are amazing. All other cheerleaders probably should be killed. Well, at the college level, Jim, let's not forget about the college cheerleaders because they are pretty okay in my book. I don't know, man. It's a good show. I like a horror movie that's set in high school, you know. And I miss the high school drama. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, so and so said he was going to beat up this guy. What? We got to go warn him. Oh, he already knows. Wait, you didn't say that. Oh, and then like all the nonsensical intrigue that seems like the end of the world to everybody in high school, but a couple of days later, nobody even remembers it.
And yes, Jim, I agree with you. USC and UCLA cheerleaders are amazing.
I'm a big SC
man.
fan, Jim. I agree with you.
Yeah.
I have a Fire Stick, so finding films is pretty easy. That's how I roll too, Rebecca.
Yeah, Fire Sticks are good. Yes.
I like Shudder. They got some pretty good stuff on there right now, so it's definitely worth checking out. You can get it for like $5 a month, minus the free trial. So you can get like 30 days, or if you just keep recycling your email address, you can get like probably a good year and a half before they're wise to what you're doing.
Just make sure you can.
You just gotta make sure you cancel, and then hit them up with a different email address, and you got yourself another 30 days. I'm not here to tell you how to scam Shudder. You should definitely pay for the service. It's a great channel. So do I. Very cool. Thank you very much, Creeper Mama. All right, gang. Well, I guess that'll about do it for this. Any questions, comments, concerns, complaints, anything?
If you haven't seen this, definitely check it out.
Worth checking out for
Definitely.
sure. I don't know what are we doing next week. We're gonna do Sweet Sweet Lonely Girl. Also available on Shudder in the same Sweet Sweet Lonely Girl. Well, I'll look it up later, but I believe that I'm 90% sure that's the name of the movie. Unless you have something in mind.
Yeah.
What did you have?
Let's watch a Rocky Horror Picture Show.
You're right. Let's do that.
Yes.
Join us next week for the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's your turn anyway. Rocky Horror Picture Show for next week, inmates. Yeah. The old one, not the new one.
The old one.
Not the one with RuPaul. Was it RuPaul?
No.
The new one? There was. I think it was. Yeah.
No, he wasn't the main actor.
I think he was. I think he was Frankenfurter. I don't know. We're gonna do the old one with Tim Curry.
Yes. Tim Curry, Rocky Horror Picture Show.
We will be discussing that in length 1 week from now, right here on Chop Block TV. As you know, ladies and gentlemen, this is actually what we do here is actually a very small portion of the podcast. You can find the rest of the show, listener mail, horror news, Terradome, everything else we do is at headedroompodcast.com. You're exactly right, Creeper Mama. He should burn that fucking shirt.
Rebecca, you played Frank in the Shadowcast. That's pretty cool.
What is the shadow? Rebecca, what is the shadow? That sounds
Shadowcast of Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, what is that?
Like,
do you like shadow puppets? Hey, I'm Frankenfurter. I'm a sweet transsexual from Transylvania.
No, it's not a shadow puppet,
If
Durian.
you actually did that, Rebecca, I want to have you on this show. Chop Block is one of the best places to be when it comes to film. So thank you very much,
Yes.
Stephen. I'm glad you're enjoying the show here on Chop Block. All right, guys. Join us next week for the old Rocky Horror Picture Show. PaddedRoomPodcast.com is where you find anything you need to know about us and the rest of the podcast. We have a whole network of shows over there for your listening enjoyment. Check it out if you would. Otherwise, we will see you next week.
Thanks for watching and listening.